It's slowly driving me crazy, and one of my favorite things to do, and was all right. Anyway, let's get to it. So, hello everybody. This is Week Didn't Start. What's up, Sam? Ahoy, Samantha.
Ahoy, Jerzy. That's not one of your handles, but hello. Hi, Jerzy.
Hello. So this is a show. We decided to do this thing at the end of 2019 where we take a particular song. If you can't figure out what the song is, get out, stop listening. It's a song that includes a lot of news events. It was written by a certain stranger, and we thought, okay, 2020 is going to be crazy, right? There's going to be so much news happening. Let's, as a way to see each other regularly and kind of work on writing skills and also do something dumb, let's write a version, like a parody version of the song lyrics every week in 2020. We started doing that. We got to early March, and then the whole world changed. And so now we're still doing it. So this is our 13th time going through this song.
Crazy.
And if you go back, there's a this is a podcast. We have a previous video up on the YouTube channel, but there's a record of us starting this off in a very, I think, clear-headed, professorial way and trying to figure this out. And we're just going to be going more and more nuts as the weeks go. So week 13 ended today. So if you want to listen to the back episodes, find us on iTunes. We got an Instagram now. There's nothing on it. We got a Twitter. You can find our episodes there. So that's what we're going to do. So the way that we do this every week is that we chat a little bit about what it was like to go through the song and do this exercise of looking for all this stuff. And then we each talk about one news item from this week and one news item that appears in the original song and do a little bit more of an exploration. And then we talk through our lyrics. And we share the song in the following way. We each take 2 of the first 4 verses. One of us takes Monday, Wednesday. One of us takes Tuesday, Friday. There's 5 verses in the song, for those of you that haven't followed this before. And then the 5th verse, I know.
As deeply as we do.
And then the 5th verse, we split up between the 2 of us. It's 8 lines long, so we each wrote 3 lines, and then we're going to write 2, in this case, live on YouTube, the last 2 lines of the song, which ends with, of course, I Can't Take It Anymore. So that's enough out of me. Sam, what was it like for you doing this week?
Continues to be a journey. I think we exchanged texts earlier about how the news was good this week and that it was varied enough to have some fun memes, some fun, celebrity stuff to add to the pall hanging over the songwriting over the last month or so, which has been I think there are aspects of it I'm kind of sinking into for no reason. We talk about a lot on this podcast about approaching the perfect iteration of the poetic form. And I do not think, the more I do this, the less I think that matching that rhyme scheme is part of it. And yet I find myself going, just trying to match the rhymes to be able to write in a vacuum. Like when I get the wall of news for my day, I just think, okay, this is very easily frame matches this verse in the rhyme. But I just don't. This was the week where I was like, I notice I'm doing that, and I don't want to always do that.
Yeah. So I do know what you mean.
Do you know what I mean?
We're serving these various masters in the form, and I do love, this is stupid. We're figuring it out. Why would anybody do this? I don't know. But I like taking it really seriously. So there's a new focus that I have that I'm trying to accomplish this goal, and I'm still failing. I don't know if we've ever done this yet, Sam. So part of it is like matching the rhymes, getting the cadence right, but also we started a couple weeks ago putting the number of discrete news items, and in some cases nude items, that happen in each verse next to the day. And so we look for that many news stories, but we don't always use that many.
Yes, and might I add, my old news story that I'm going to talk about, I looked at the verses that we have written, and I noticed a comma where I found out there isn't one. So it's actually one story where we may have been allocating 2.
Well, in a previous episode that I don't know if you've heard yet, because it was the one where we recorded it separately when you were on vacation, there's a comma in this song that I take issue with.
Which comma?
Which is heavy metal suicide.
That is my story, and I have to change it now.
Oh shit! No, yeah, I did it that week that we.
Oh
that
my
we,
god! See, this is
when
why
you
I
were
need a
traveling.
chart. This is why I need a chart.
Well, we can go back over it because also a little peek behind the curtain. We also picked the same one for tonight. We both had picked the
This
same.
is embarrassing for me.
Story because we text each other. Well, now we're getting more. No, we're great minds think alike. We're in sync. We're both trapped in this
horrifying.
In this quarantine. The song has quarantined us. But there are a couple things, including in my old lyric from the song, that I think we can forgive ourselves a little bit with some of these things because he didn't adhere to it. The piano man himself didn't adhere to it. So are we also not saying, in addition to the things we're already not saying in the show, are we also not going to say the name of the thing that's in the news? That's because you kind of mumbled it.
Because I mumbled.
Is that a thing? Like, no. I'm going to bleep that out on the podcast. I feel like we all know what we're talking about, and it comes up in the
it's just
news,
exhausting.
all the time.
It's fucking exhausting. So I feel like it's got the like asterisk in the Twitter mention. You know what I mean?
Should we call it the fire?
The fire? No,
I mean, there's real fires, including this week.
I don't know. Oh, how about Dacron? Have we done that yet? I like talking about that.
Oh, you want to talk about Dacron?
Have we done
There's
it yet?
some that we... no, I mean, for the first 4 or 5 weeks, we sort of talked about things generally, but we didn't claim them and
we'll
dig
make a
into them.
spreadsheet afterwards, and I can mention it this week because
Cool.
And you can bleep out the part where I already picked 2 that were off limits. No, you don't.
This is all going in. Yeah, I'm not. I've done enough editing with the other episodes. I'm just going to put this up raw feed. It's just going
good.
up. It was good for me this week. I tried to fit so many stories in, and some cases it worked, in some cases it didn't, or I felt like this needs to be in there, and I'm not just going to pick the thing because it fits.
Yeah.
So I would try to start off with what are the things that match the song the best that I can sort of slot in for the syllables, for the rhymes, and then, if there's a couplet or a shared line that has a rhyme, an internal rhyme. If it doesn't rhyme with Syngman Rhee and Kennedy, which doesn't rhyme also.
I thought it was Syngman Rhee, but we talked about this already. I think maybe
he really hedges a lot, so I feel like we can do the same. But if it doesn't totally match and it's another rhyme, I let myself go with it, and I tried to honor the spirit of the thing.
Yes.
So if it was like a vowel rhyme, I've always tried to. If it ends with, if it's like Belgians in the Congo, that line, I always try to end it on a vowel sound.
Yes, but I just want to go back to this idea of the rhyme scheme and whether or not it is the honoring of the form, because I feel there are certain things I feel like an allegiance to, and like you mentioned, Belgians in the Congo, and mine happens to it ends in like a vowel-ish sound, but it ends in a kind of consonant syllable. But I just think that if we approached it each week going, okay, A, E, E, O, like truly those sounds or whatever, it's not, it feels like the wrong approach, I guess, or flawed.
I don't think it's a number on priority. I do think it makes it more of a parody, because if we're really doing this, I mean, and this is a parody, but also we're looking at this as if it's a literary form, right? So what is a limerick? It has a form to it. Like what is we didn't start? What is that form? Like, what are the rules of it? Does it have to end with A, O, right? Like in that. So I think it's important that the things rhyme with each other. And then maybe it's like sonnets, how there's like, there's a Shakespearean sonnet and a Plutarchian sonnet. There are like variations of the rules.
But those.
So maybe there's like a Corbinian we didn't start and a Gwiazdowskian form.
Maybe
where
so,
we kind of codify different rules.
Yes. I think the thing I'm getting at is just no poetic form that I can think of mandates. There are rhyme schemes, but there's no rhyme sounds. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
yeah,
anyway.
I agree with you. But I think maybe we can... But also this form, it's pulled from culture, and so it's always going to be in reference to the original.
Yeah.
So I do think that, like, something about... like the degree of reference to the original, if we're writing down what are the rules, maybe this is a project for the show. This is a whole new thing. But like maybe part of our project is like what has to be true if you're doing this song.
I love that. And then maybe we debut that as the manifesto at the end of the year. As like, we have studied this for so long. This is what We Didn't Start the Fire is and is not.
I mean, we're 13 in, so maybe by the end of June for 6 months, we can say this is what it's going to be and try to go with it.
Maybe. Oh no, my long johns are in the shot. Oh, devastating. I'm not doing this in my pajamas.
I just saw a long john sliver.
All right.
You responded to that joke a lot more favorably on the stream than you did off the stream. Okay.
Yes.
But it was cool for me. I have other thoughts about the song, but I can get into it when we talk about the specific verses. Sure. So let's get into our highlights, which is what we're calling the things that are from. Do you want to do let's do the new news first, because you're probably still looking at your old
I found,
one, right?
listen, I did a little Googly and I have found all the information I need about the old, but I will mention the new first because I chose one of the most vapid news articles from this week because it was just so silly and so fascinating. One of my words is Cavallari. After Kristen Cavallari, which is this random Twitter thread. It's like not even that viral about how Kristen Cavallari's social media, and she's a celebrity from like the hills, her social media presence allegedly suggests that she was trapped in the Bahamas at the outbreak of the coronavirus with, I think, her partner and her hairstylist. And
her partner is former NFL quarterback Jay Cutler.
Yes.
So my Twitter feed, it came up because I follow sports shit.
Yeah. And just the level of dedication that this Twitter user, stan culture runs deep. But I was just so impressed. It was like on March 18th, she posted this status, which means she was here. And then over the course of this Twitter thread, you realize not only is this couple like in the Bahamas, but they have this influencer like honeymoon turned nightmare because they're truly stuck in a place with like no public resources for them and like a lockdown order, and US citizens are being urged to leave and they're thirsty. It's awful. I do wish small hardships on people like that.
I definitely wish hardships on them. So my take from that story, which I also followed, and I'm glad you brought it up, was that, they're these are anti-vaxxer people.
Yes, I forgot Kristen that story.
So, I do kind of wish them a little bit of, bad fortune, not in any, just a little bit, but also the implication from that thread, which was then, I think, another part of the life cycle of this in the stupid Twitter sphere, was that some media outlet basically stole. It was probably, I don't want to say who it probably was, but some maybe sports focused or celebrity focused outlet just lifted this all the reportage of this Twitter user and made it into a piece. And the content of the original thread suggested to me that they should have left early and were being advised to leave early. So it was a timeline that was peppered with like, this is when the U.S. was saying all people on vacation should leave. And like the Bahamas was saying, hey, all tourists need to go. And the timeline of the Instagram post didn't add up, where this crew of like 4 or 5 people was saying like, oh, we can't leave, we're stuck here. And they were sort of using it as a way to get a photo op, and then they became actually stuck. So there's a little bit of schadenfreude, I think, in enjoying the fact that they cried wolf about this whole thing.
Yeah, well said. Don't take my news article and make it better. How dare?
Sorry, it was one.
How dare you know more about this subject than I do? Yes, go ahead. What's your new news story?
I dropped it in the doc. I think that's why.
What?
I knew more.
Rude. Okay.
Oh, maybe not. Either of us could have. We're both too much online. So mine is just as light. It's about the ceasefire in Yemen. So one of the stories, if you've been following the show, or if you want to go back and listen to the show, or if you've been following the news, we have had these ongoing stories in the news that are, and the, virus pandemic was one of them until a couple of weeks ago when it became very immediate and took over all of the news cycle, that there were these dull roars in the background where you get periodic updates or check-ins. And I wouldn't know about the details of the atrocities happening in Yemen, and the number of people that were displaced and have been killed if I hadn't been doing the show. So I guess that's a good thing. I'm more aware of it. But going through and looking for news, and it wouldn't be the top story, but 100 people died. 100,000 people displaced by the violence in Yemen. And that was as of January. So one, I don't know that it's a good thing, but because of the pandemic, Saudi Arabia has called a ceasefire in Yemen. So that's an update on this ongoing story that hasn't really broken through in a way that I've seen it reported, that I've been able to find a lot of information. You sort of have to piece together. I felt like I was that tweeter looking for the timeline of the Kristen Cavallari, Jay Cutler, Bahamas thread, but looking for like these, this international crisis happening in Yemen. So there's a ceasefire, which is nice. And, a lot of nations have been calling for, I think Canada did this week, Italy last week, calling for an end to global conflict and an end to war and like a global ceasefire. So that's a slight silver lining within all this crazy shit that's happening.
Yeah.
What was your story from the original song?
Well, as of 5 minutes ago, Jerzy, my story from the original song is related to Dacron, which is a polyester fiber hybrid that debuted in 1951, and it was marketed as being, resistant to stains and fading and detergent and chemicals. It was marketed in suit form for $95, which is the equivalent of $800 in today's money. Interestingly enough, the synthetic fabric was also used in artificial hearts. So not only on your suits, but also on your hearts.
Wow.
Dacron. Yeah.
Was it? I wonder if it was then like replaced with another fabric, polyester.
No, it was a post polyester, I believe.
We're in a post poly world. Okay.
Resin of the polyester family. Oh my God, it's used in containers and liquids for food.
Oh, so it's still in use.
Yes.
It's not a story.
Pet production. Wait, weird. Now I'm thinking
pet production.
I'm wondering. No, because it's the phrase "pet" is what Dacron is the brand name for, PET. Now I'm thinking, is that what pipes are made of? Because you can get PET pipes as opposed to like copper or plastic. Do you know what I'm talking about? For your plumbing.
We're learning and putting. I see the gears turning during this video. Yeah, no, that sounds right. A synthetic material.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of PEX. Oh no. No, I thought
PEX. I don't have those either, so I wouldn't.
You know what? Here's the problem. I replaced my bathroom vanity recently and had to look up a bunch of synthetic materials, and so that's why I know about this at all. But I might be wrong about the PET. But anyway.
This is why we do the show. It's about this look into your life.
Yeah, really and about the chili and the plumbing. Yes.
In the BCV times, we used to record at your wonderful apartment in Greenpoint, and you did have a vanity in your bathroom that had 2 sinks.
And now it has 1.
But still 2 mirrors? Is that true?
Yes, don't mock my mirrors. I will get them replaced.
No, it's great. You just wash it when I wash my hands. I gotta go.
Can I
gotta pick which side.
Before we go to your story, can I indulge you in a couple of other uses of PET that I'm reading about online as we speak?
Please. No, I'm just learning about it. So please.
Plastic bottles made from PET are widely used for soft drinks. And then PET is also used as a waterproofing barrier in undersea cables. It's spliced into bell rope tops to help prevent wear on the ropes as they pass through the ceiling. It's kind of fascinates me because it's like, who thought of this? And it also is used as a 3D printing filament. So many uses.
Wow, keeps coming back.
Yep.
3D printing. There was a little 3D printing in the news this week. I don't know if it made it into the song about the tiny 3D printed houses.
Oh.
Well, I guess there was more than one 3D printing.
No, it was very stupid. It was this guy on Twitter who was like, "This is how you make a sandwich," and it was so clean. Someone he got mocked because people were like, "This guy cut his sandwich with a laser," and someone else was like, "Did you make that sandwich in a 3D printer?" Because it just looked so despicably well cut. Anyway,
that's good.
Yep. All right, what was yours? Your old story.
Oh yeah, from the original song. So we had picked the same thing, which is why you had to look something else up. Excuse me. So I looked at Payola, and first things first, as it relates to the song, Payola. But in the verse, our stranger sings it as Payola. Mm-hmm. Right? So I do think we can give ourselves a little bit more latitude in terms of the syllables we're stressing in these things, which is something that you give me a lot of shit for when I do, when I really try to squeeze in a lot of syllables and downbeats and stuff. So Payola, that's bullshit. Come on, Billy Joel, come on the show. Oh, sorry, I'm going to beat that out in the show. Stranger, Piano Man, come on the show. We would love to hear your thoughts. You're clearly too biased on behalf of the Brooklyn Dodgers. Anyway, so Payola was, and I guess is, but there's not really radio anymore. Although we're broadcasting live, so I guess
Radio
there could
exists.
be Payola involved.
Oh,
radio exists.
Oh, I understand. Yes, I would say so. Yes, go ahead.
But it's not as big a part of the monoculture as it used to be. But were you aware? Were you aware of Payola?
Yes, but I learned about it.
before you looked it up for this?
Yeah. In fact, I didn't look it up for this because I didn't have time because I found out you were taking it. But I had like a frame knowledge about it because of some reason that I knew what Payola was. But like I learned about it like in the last year or last like 6 months. I forget why.
So yeah,
anyway,
it was this big scandal. I was vaguely aware of it. I don't know where from. I mean, it was represented in popular culture.
Yeah.
There were congressional hearings about it, much like the House Un-American Activities Committee or other. So it was this news story that was going on for a long time, and I had always thought of it as this seedy scam where basically DJs would take money to play certain songs on during drive time, during the hit parade. And big DJs were shamed. It was a huge industry, and they were very popular, well-known figures. Early days of television or pre-television, these were your hosts. These were your nightly, daily figures, and they were huge celebrities. And they also were getting a lot of money on the side because the record labels were going to them directly and saying, I'll pay you this much money to play this song. That was my conception of it. I was vaguely aware that Dick Clark had been implicated in Payola because he was alive for so long. It was somebody that I knew who had been working then. So that is all true. But when I did a little bit of a deeper dive into it, the etymology of Payola is a little disputed. If you were to go to like the Wikipedia level, it would say, oh yeah, pay for pay, and ola, which is a suffix that it was like
Victrola. You know what I mean?
Right.
On the
That's one of the things is like pay and Victrola. And then also people say, well, it's just Ola because Ola was sort of the suffix of the 30s and 40s, Crayola, Shinola, like there was
it's like a
thing
nicknameifying.
It's like gate. It's like a gate. Like if there's a scandal, you'd say instead of gate, you'd say Ola maybe. So yeah, the thing about Payola that I thought was interesting was that not only was it this shady deal that changed the industry, but there was a degree of accessibility because a lot of these local radio DJs, rural parochial radio DJs would not play new music. They wouldn't play artists of color. They were resistant to rock and roll, which had a groundswell of support and was incredibly popular. But there was this resistance to playing new music. So in some ways, Payola, good, because allowed the record labels to move the needle, literally, on the ability to get some of these songs on the radio and to get them in the public consciousness and sort of become accepted as part of the monoculture. And also there was a big smear campaign against Payola where it basically was associated with rock and roll specifically, like rock and roll and that music, that kids music, that music that, non-white people listen to, that has these different sounds, it's devilish or whatever. That's where Payola comes from. So that's something that has to do with rock and roll, which is largely now discredited, but it was a big disinformation campaign as well, that even as a kid growing up in the 80s and 90s, I was vaguely aware of, that it was like this seedy bad thing, but it wasn't necessarily maybe all bad, although corruption and bribery is not good. So that's Payola.
Wow. You know what the scammiest oil is?
Tell me.
Canola.
Canola? It's canola.
Canola. Canola.
Oh, can I say one more thing about the song, and then we'll do the lyrics if anybody's watching. I'm not looking at the stream, but then we'll get into the lyrics for this week. So we talk about the commas, and the commas separate things, and we mentioned heavy metal suicide. Probably there shouldn't be a comma in there.
Yeah, because it's the same thing.
Payola and Kennedy is the line. There's no comma.
Was Kennedy implicated in Payola? No.
No, he was just elected when it was happening.
Wow.
So that line covers like a couple, maybe 2 years, or even like that whole verse, or those 4 lines of that verse cover like 18 months, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But Payola and Kennedy weren't. See, I want to say, like it says in the song, Payola, weren't really directly related. So that and. Again, it's off the form. So is that an and something that needs to be in the in every version of the verse? Just something to consider. He played a little fast and loose with his own rules.
Yep. Well, he only had one time to do it, right? Like the document is all we have. This version of the song is all we have.
If what you're saying is that by the end of this process, we're going to know more about the song than the guy who wrote it, I agree with you.
Fair.
So, but speaking of playing fast and loose with the rules, let's look at our lyrics for this week. All right, you did Monday.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Should we just do it?
I think we should.
Wait, do we need to write the last? Should we write the last 2 lines and then do the whole thing in a row?
Yes. Let's write the last 2.
Okay, so for this, we usually kind of take little breaks and chit chat in between. What if we try to just go through and just do the verses in order?
Oh, let's.
And then we'll talk about it at the very end.
Yeah. I like that.
Cool.
Okay, so Monday. Boris Johnson, Turkey's ill. Lady Gaga festival. College budgets. Atkinson says whistles need to blow. Mugshot challenge. Baseball season. Justin Bieber's ugly mansion. Anus camera. COVID tiger. Genocide grave hole. Dairy farms, wrestlers, Karen is a racial slur, whale sharks, Keystone Line, SeaWorld CEO resigns, big tobacco vaccine, we will overcome, says Queen, Cavallari, Jackson Glove, Wisconsin disenfranchised.
Speaking moistly, cats' butts, why are people licking stuff? Pink Floyd party, pink moon, Wuhan unlocked. Zoom, bingo, postal veto, reefer in Ontario, car insurance payback, pandas finally fuck. Churches hatch their Easter schemes, quarantine house memes, David Clark, gas man, doc arrests in Pakistan, Korea's crime hotline, antibodies, Glenn Fine, Texas rights, John Devine, workers on the front line.
Bernie out, Dr. Burke's CRA serve really works. FEMA seizing health supplies, flight attendants scared to fly. Wimbledon, Ivory Coast, how Joe Biden gets my vote. No porn bailout in Japan, astronauts in Kazakhstan. NASA logo, Zoom bombs, Thomas Modley's trip to Guam, Linda trip, distance drones, cataclysmic danger known, moon mines, vineyard fears, Pope condemns the profiteers, dog and cat search cyclone, new hole in the ozone.
Biden flirts with Bernie plans, forest fires in Thailand, horse game on ESPN, ceasefire called in Yemen. France says Google doit payer, Soyuz rocket goes to space, Taco Bell won't touch your hand, bodies on Heart Island, TikTok fake caper Nick, Waffle House sells out of mix, new emoji are delayed, what else do I have to say? Krakatoa, little flu, postal service nearly through, Dorsey, Bear, Bile, Britain's green, Lansing, France, Sting, Mafia, Me Too, Mina, ventilators from Iran, Google lays down Zoom, ban, Chile fortune, copter ride, Pope supporting UBI, Jane pleads, strain 3, gas, debt, PPE, starting IRS support, wage bill passes on the floor, Chernobyl site is being scorched, I can't take it anymore.
That's the song.
That's the song. That's the lyrics.
That's the lyrics, yes.
It's not really. I don't know if we call that a performance of the song.
This week.
That's
we
the
gotta
news.
find like a zippy way. I can't resist doing I know we've decided the song is not it, the melody is not it, but I still need to do it.
No, I do too. And actually, the melody unlocks something about the form for me.
Yeah. What for you specifically?
Well, so one thing I did, I'll talk about something I did that I focused on this week, which was in Tuesday. So Monday and Tuesday are kind of the same. Right? Monday has the 4 lines is 4 and 4, and it's broken up by a chorus without lyrics. And then Tuesday it's all smashed together. So it sort of has this acceleration. And it also ends with the original song ends with Bardo, Budapest, Alabama, Khrushchev, Princess Grace, Peyton Place, Trouble in the Suez. Okay. And you asked me in a previous episode, does Khrushchev and Suez rhyme? And yeah, right? That's got to be the rhyme. But also, Budapest and Khrushchev rhyme. And also, the way that our dude, come on the show, the way that he performs it, he rhymes Suez with Princess Grace and Peyton Place. He kind of goes Suez, you know? Like it's a little like he had so they're all kind of in the same, you know, space of this assonance. So I tried to do that by making them all kind of within the same vowel category in the last two lines. So it's Correa's Crime Hotline, Antibodies, Glenn Fine, Texas Writes, John Devine, Workers on the Front Line. So it's like trying to copy that because I think that verse 2 needs to launch us into the Wednesday verse because it starts up in that other key.
Yeah, the other register.
And we got to get there, you know?
Yeah.
So there's something about assonance in that in that part.
You know, one more thing just that I've been thinking about. I know that the approach we're taking to covering the news is that we do day by day, verse by verse.
Yeah.
But there are so many moments, as we discovered with the survivors of thalidomide, which fortuitously, you know, not fortuitously in the news sense, but happened on the Wednesday that week that we covered it. So like mafia was one of my words. And I was like, I want to put it in the mafia verse, you know, but it happened later. So that's something I'm kind of noticing is when it comes up, I'm like, ooh, give it to the original verse.
I'm thinking the same thing. Also, I mean, in the spirit of the song and the whole message of the song is like, this shit's been going on for a while. Some of the countries and topics that are in the news, Iran, Afghanistan, right? They come up. So there's something about Iran and Afghanistan every week, and it's in the song. So do we decide, maybe if that's not like the pure format, but do we decide like if there's an Iran thing that it maybe goes into, it goes into that spot. I also really thought, you know, Bernie Sanders dropped out on Wednesday, and I had this moment because I was trying to figure out the last line of, not the last line, but the line in verse 5 that has 5 things in it. And they're so hard to find one syllable things that represent a whole news item. But also, verse 5 has the phrase Bernie gets for Bernie gets. But if it was Bernie gets, I thought, oh, that would have been chef's kiss. So maybe there's something about that we can kind of, if we can look at the way we organize this and get even more sophisticated.
As we do.
Because also what we're reading is like our first draft, at least of the whole thing, you know? Not that we should go back.
Revise
no,
drafts
never. But the redrafting is in the doing it every week. Yeah. What was the anus camera?
Oh my God. There's a toilet that takes a picture of your butt hole.
Of mine specifically?
What the purpose? No, yes, yours specifically. No, what's crazy about it is that it's like there's multiple functions in this toilet. This toilet recognizes your butthole and uploads photos to the cloud. It takes an anal print. Yada yada. Okay, Precision Health Toilet is equipped with 4 cameras: the stool camera, anus camera, and 2 Euroflow cameras.
Why though?
It reminds me, one of my favorite TikTok audios right now is the one that goes, "You did this for what? Why? Why not? Why? Why not?"
We almost made it through a whole episode without talking about TikTok.
Well, I do have to bring up one question I had, which was after your TikTok line, you had fake Kaepernick, and I don't know what that is.
Oh, yeah. So one of the things, the consequences of everybody being online, and it's happened with a couple things, but this was a good example of it, is that parody accounts have been tweeting fake news, literal fake news, and then it's getting picked up by media outlets. We got into this a little bit. I don't remember what episode it was, but like how within this crisis that news has changed. I think it was our first Zoom episode we talked about it.
Yeah.
So somebody tweeted like from a fake Sports Center account that Colin Kaepernick had signed with the Jets, you know, and then it got picked up and retweeted. And I saw, because it was trending on Twitter, I went to do this doc, or maybe I was just on Twitter, and I saw Colin Kaepernick's trending. I clicked it. I thought, okay. But it was somebody who picked like, what's the most kind of hot story? Like what would just drive people nuts. And it was all in good faith. Like, it wasn't a joke. It didn't read like a joke. It was just to try to get a little Twitter juice. And it got picked up and retweeted by like a bunch of media folks.
Jeez Louise.
But there were quite a few of those. And that was the one. That was the one that did it. That's the hard thing, right? Is when you cram so much in. And again, this is the benefit of living the stranger. Having done this.
The terror in your eyes. I was like, what's happening? There's a spider behind me.
No. Oh, I'm not looking at our videos. Hopefully I'm not like picking my nose or something for getting my camera.
You've been doing it the entire time. Go on.
But if you only get one word or one syllable, you don't get the whole story, right? So it's easier if you say AIDS, crack. I've said this before on the show, but like we know what those are in the context of the broader history of the world. Yeah. But for this week, because we're like in the middle of the week, it's a little bit harder to like my single syllable ones are shoot, what are they? Oh, gas, debt, you know.
I have to say, Gush, going back, I know that we've approached this song in many different ways. Sorry, the form, yada, yada. Yeah. But I will say we talked a long time ago about the idea that the opening lines of the opening verse be expositional, like Harry Truman Doris Day. And that brings me back to that approach with the single syllable words, like picking words that are representative, that are not news stories so much as they are like timestamps across, you know, a decade of cultural moments and in a different world. And maybe in this one, we approach the writing of it like that.
Yeah, it almost feels like that line, I don't know why, but maybe it should get first dibs. Or... Do you know what I mean? Like if there's something that there's a one syllable word and everyone will know what it means.
Yes.
Huh.
Good questions. Good questions.
I don't know how we'll manage that.
To be addressed.
I don't want to blow up our whole system.
It's an ongoing journey.
Yeah. Anything else you want to chit chat about?
No, I feel like I'm exhausted from this week, and we did it, and I'm ready to do it again.
Let's do it again. Kind of.
See you again this time next week, and hopefully some viewers too. Should we keep doing the live stream?
Yeah, let's keep doing it while we can, and if we get a little audience going, why not, right?
Yeah.
Let's call it a night.
Okay. Good night.
Good night, Sam. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.